More than 100,000 fleet ALPR cameras today. With more than 100,000 fleet ALPR cameras today in the field, it's time for the next giant leap. So, introducing Axon Outpost. This is not just another ALPR camera, it's two cameras in one. So just like Fleet, you have one camera optimized for license plate reading and the other for live video streaming with a wider field of view. Outpost runs edge-based vehicle signature AI, meaning it doesn't just capture plates, it recognizes vehicle make, model, color, visible damage, and even unique features like bumper stickers or roof racks. And it can be deployed anywhere with a flexible power source, including solar or wired power. Now, throughout history, outposts, that has been where the protectors are stationed at the edge of civilization. So we like that as a name, and that's what Outpost is. It's a next-generation fixed camera you can set anywhere, an outpost protecting the boundaries of your community. But we haven't stopped there. I'm also excited to announce that we are working with another industry leader, Ubiquia, to turn streetlights into smart ALPR and live streaming cameras. Without having to add a single pole in the ground, this partnership accelerates deployments and turns existing infrastructure into intelligent, interconnected tools for public safety. Now, streetlights can do more than light the street. They can protect it. We call this Axon Lightpost. And to share more about this partnership, please welcome the CEO of Ubiquia, Ian Aaron.
Thanks, Rick. So at Ubiquia, our mission is simple: to make the world smarter, safer, and more connected. We actually do that by leveraging the existing infrastructure that's already in the ground. That's 60 million streetlights in the US and actually 450 million worldwide. And we make them intelligent. We built a reputation with more than 900 cities and utilities for turning ordinary streetlights into extraordinary tools for public safety. Our UB Hub platform is easy to install, simple to relocate, and built to scale, allowing police departments to deploy and expand their video and LPR capabilities quickly. And today, we're excited to announce our collaboration with Axon Lightpost, creating together a powerful streetlight-based platform for video surveillance and LPR, all integrating seamlessly.
Shalom. All praise to the Most High, Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem, B'Kak, and double honor to our apostles, elders, and bishops here at Great Millstone for teaching this truth that's gone all around the earth, and shalom to the hopeful elect. It's your brother Atazawan. We back at it again. We're going to do a real quick lesson on that one clip that we have where you got these two weirdos, you know, and this seems to be the thing now, is all of these different people from the, you know, from the tribes of Esau who are popping up and, you know, telling you how they're going to control certain sects of life on the planet, right? Everybody's a know-it-all and a big-time businessman, and, you know, these are just smaller cogs in a bigger machine, as it were. And these two knuckleheads are speaking on their technologies for surveillance across the country, right? So you got all these different startup companies and what have you who want their little piece of the pie of the dystopia that they're trying to put in place. In which these two guys, I've never seen them or heard of them before. And, you know, so they have their business of making these, I guess, these surveillance cameras, right, that are going up all over the place. All right, and so we're living in a time where Esau Edom is going full throttle, right, in terms of what their agendas are as far as setting up their part of the digital planet, as it were. All right, so quickly, we just going to get a couple of, well, really just one definition of what is that surveillance, all right? And it says here, surveillance is the careful and systematic observation of people, places, or things to gather information, prevent crime, or maintain so-called safety, right? Common methods include cameras, data tracking, direct observation, and then it goes into different types, right? You have in-person stakeouts and direct watching by people. You got using CCTV cameras, wiretaps, so on and so on. You know, and it's all really to create a life that will be under watch. You know, and the problem with that is who's watching the watchers? You see, while they're watching you, who's watching them? What makes them the authority on watching anybody? Well, that's because they're the devil, okay? They're the incarnate unrighteousness and deceptive man on the earth, right? Doing the works of Satan. So here we go to Wikipedia. It says here, surveillance is the systematic observation and monitoring of a person, population, or location with the purpose of information gathering, right? And if they're gathering information, it must mean that they're going to use it at a later time, right? Influencing, managing, or directing. And you see here the different types of cameras. You know, I guess around the early 2000s, we began to see these types of cameras hanging on light posts and so on. Okay, which in many of the cities, you know, they voted at that time that it was unconstitutional, right, to be looking into people's cars. Well, here you have it now. They think that, you know, again, here in Babylon the Great, as the Edomites think that they're protected under the Bill of Rights, right, and the Constitution, you got these, again, technocrats who say that they can do whatever they want because they're the one or the ones who are running so-called society here in Babylon, okay, and across the planet, okay. Let's read this here. It says, it is widely used by governments for a variety of reasons, such as law enforcement, and that's what you heard them stating, right, because they want to give you the illusion that this is for everybody's safety so that our cities will be safe, our towns will be safe. No, that's not what it's for. Just like these, so you know, these data centers, right? That they're building all over the place. Okay, what's it going to be used for? Why do you need to collect data on people to see what they're watching on television or where they're walking about in the streets or what time they went into a store? Oh, we're going to prevent crime. You know, Esau always loves to try to act like it's for your best interest. Okay. Let's get back to this. It says, it is widely used by governments for a variety of reasons, such as law enforcement, national security, information awareness. It can also be used as a tactic by persons who are not working on behalf of a government, such as by criminal organizations to plan and commit crimes, and by businesses to gather intelligence on criminals. There are their competitors, suppliers, or customers, religious organizations, we right here, Salakia. You know, this thing, sometimes they just do whatever. Forgive me. Religious organizations charged with detecting heresy and heterodoxy. I never heard of that word before. Okay. Heterodoxy may also carry out surveillance. Various kinds of auditors carry out a form of surveillance. Says surveillance is done in a variety of methods such as human interaction, postal interception, closed circuit television, cameras, wiretapping, data mining. Here it says surveillance can unjustifiably violate people's privacy and is often criticized by civil liberty activists. And that's true because you have a right to be, according to the Bill of Rights, if I'm not mistaken, you have a right to be secure in your own person and artifacts, right? So nobody should know when you go to the bathroom, how many times you go, right? Nobody should have an idea of knowing what your trends or habits are, like which way you walk to the park each time you go, okay? Nobody should know that other than you, okay? But you have to realize the time in which you're living in, right? We're living in the end of days, the last of the last days. And because of that, the Most High has sent his prophets again to speak, right? And that's what it means to prophesy, speak before, okay? The words that are in the book, okay? And so when you see the men in the Lord, preaching, teaching, out there on the streets and even through these online videos, it is to give a warning, especially to the ones we call Jake, right? That's short for Jacob, right? The seed of Jacob of the 12 tribes, you so-called Negro tribes, right? Latino tribes, Native American tribes. We all go back, okay, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, our forefathers, right? And so you are the Israelites who've been cast out of your land pursuant to the curse, all right? Deuteronomy 28, you can go and read that. You see? And so now in these last days, according to the scriptures, the Lord would send men back, to preach to his elect for the time period. Okay? And so all the prophets of the Lord were elect men. All right? Let's go over here to 1 Thessalonians. We're going to read this in the NLT. I don't know if I've ever done that before, but we'll do it this time around. And it reads, let's start at verse 2. It reads, "For ye know quite well that the day of the Lord's return will come unexpectedly like a thief in the night," right? So nobody knows the day nor the hour, as the scriptures read, when the Lord shall return. Okay, so what you have to do while you have the time is to prepare yourself. Repent, right? Come back to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua and to your heritage and do better, all right? The best that you can, okay? Learn as much as you can about your heritage, about the scriptures, okay? And if these words mean anything to you, meaning that it, in a way, yeah, it can comfort you, it can edify you or build you up, or it resonates with your spirit, then by chance you are an Israelite, right? And most importantly, you want to make your calling and election assured, all right? So if that is the case, it just may be that you're of the elect, right? But none of us know for certain. We just have to get there, you see? But that's the goal right now when you listen to the men. Don't listen to the men just to fill your day, but listen to learn, This my channel doesn't get all that much traffic, but, whoever you are out there, listen to learn, you see? Don't just listen to look at it as some type of entertainment because, you like the way one brother cusses people out or something of that nature. All right. Anyway, let's go on. Verse 3, it says, when people are saying, quote, everything is peaceful and secure, end quote, and that's what you hear these two Edomites up there who basically are just, if they're not already billionaires, that's what they're seeking for, because that's how Esau is. He wants everything. And so they'll follow whatever is going on. They see the tech industry as being lucrative. So everybody is racing to try to one up each other in the technocrat run for the earth, if I could say that. Okay, everybody wants to come up with some new idea that leads into the new society or the NWO that they want on the planet. Okay. Back in verse 3, let's read it again. It says, when people are saying everything is peaceful and secure, which is their whole idea, that's how they sell everything to you, is, oh, this is going to make everything safe for you and your family. Okay? Then disaster will fall on them as suddenly as a pregnant woman's labor pains begin, and there will be no escape. But you are not in the dark about these things, dear brothers and sisters, and you won't be surprised when the day of the Lord comes like a thief, right? So you're preparing yourself now, okay, through the grace of the Lord. You know, if he's woken you up and opened up your eyes through the Spirit, you'll be able to receive this and know that I need, you know, you say to yourself, I need to prepare myself, you know, because it could happen at any given time. And just by looking at the handwriting on the wall on a day-to-day basis, you see that society is in the toilet, okay? So you know something big has to be coming. All right, verse 5, for you are all children of the light and of the day. We don't belong to darkness at night, so be on your guard, not asleep like others. Stay alert and be clear-headed, right? So when you believe that you understand this and you have the truth, stick with the truth, okay? Verse 7, night is the time when people sleep and drinkers get drunk. But let us who live in the light be clear-headed, protected by the armor of faith and love, and wearing as our helmet the confidence of our salvation. For the Most High chose to save us through our Lord Yahushua Mashiach, not to pour out his anger on us, because that's what's coming in the day of the Lord, is the Lord's anger, his fury of fire. Okay? Verse 10, Mashiach died for us so that whether we are dead or alive, when he returns, we can live with him forever. So encourage, verse 11, so encourage each other and build each other up, just as you are already doing. And that's the point of the lessons, is to build you up in the faith, okay? Because that dreadful day is coming. And this is spoken of in the scriptures, as we can see. Let's jump in right here, Matthew 24:29. It says, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken, and then shall and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, which is what? The host of heaven in the chariots. And Yahushua is going to have his own huge chariot that's going to cover the skies. Okay? Going on to verse 31, it says, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together what? His elect from the four winds. Okay, so not everybody, as we go into time and time again, and, you know, we understand that these lessons, they get redundant, right? The scriptures continuously come out. You know, oh, we've heard that before. Yeah, but you need to keep hearing it. This is the only way you're going to build yourself up. Okay? And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and he shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So only the elect, 2/3. All you rebellious people out there, you know, all you rebellious jakes, right? The wicked of the earth, all of you will be left here to be burned. Okay, that's that hellfire that, you know, was wrongly taught, right? That there's some place where you go burn forever down in the middle of the earth. You know, that was taught to us in Christianity. But no, this is ultimately what the fire is going to be, is those nuclear missiles that hit Babylon the Great. Okay? You all who are out there, you're rebelling against Yahweh Shem Yahushua, you rebel against the names, you hate the brother's teaching, you know, and all we're doing is teaching the Bible. It's being taught in a way you've never understood before. And not only that, but, you got so many of these scoffers and mockers and unbelievers now making videos about what? The Hebrew Israelites. That's basically all you see on these different platforms now. It's how, and you women out there, you piping up, right? And all you're going to do is bring judgment on yourself for speaking against the prophets of the Lord, okay? Because of your rebellion. And if you like anything else, if you don't like something, why do you pay attention to it? Go do something else. Because nobody's forcing you to watch the lessons. Nobody's going to make you stand there in front of the men as they teach, and irregardless to what camp it is. Okay, I'll say it that way. Just go on about your day, but yet you find all the rebellious people making all these videos about the Hebrew Israelites, how you can't stand them, why they always on the corner yelling, oh, they hate women, oh, they hate, they hate white folks, they so mean, oh, they're hurt, all these different things that people are saying, and they don't know us, but they think that they have a right to voice their opinion. Well, you also have a right to just mind your damn business and go on about your day, right? Because I know there's things that I don't like, and I don't pay no attention to it. I just keep going, right? I don't watch something that I don't like, you see? But we're living in these days where these unbelievers, these mockers and rebellious people, particularly of Israel, right, you 2/3, these are the days for you to be identified as a mocker and a scoffer and to be rebellious, you women out there, okay? So this is par for the course, as the old adage says, okay? It's supposed to be this way. But going on, let's read on. It says here in let's go back to Salakia. Let's go to verse 32, I believe. Now learn the parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, ye know that summer is nigh. So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the door. Excuse me. Verse 34, verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the day of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Right? So as you see society going on, and you see the devil, putting up his surveillance net, right, to catch you all in a snare, all right, because that's what it's going to do. That's what it's for, is so that you will have no more privacy. Okay, and who wants to live in a prison planet? Because that's what they're making up. Okay, it's to know where you are, what you're doing, where you've been, what you eating, what you bought. Okay, and then they tell you that they're here in Babylon the Great. There's a so-called national anthem that says "Home of the Free." Okay, well, all right, well, where's that at now? Okay, all of that is gone. You're living in a different time now. Let's see here. Where do I want to go? Let's start right here at Luke 17. And it's pretty much the same as what we read in Matthew, but it's a little bit different. Let's start right there at verse 22. And it reads, and he said unto the disciples, the days will come when ye shall desire to see one of the days of the Son of Man, and ye shall not see it. And they shall say to you, see here, or see there, go not after them, nor follow them. For as the lightning that lighteth out of the one part under heaven shineth unto the other part under heaven, so shall also the Son of Man be in this day. But first must he suffer many things and be rejected of this generation. Right. And of this generation is this generation today as well, because you same niggas from back then, you're back now to receive your judgment for your, once again, your scoffing, your mocking, your rebellion, right? Your refusal to believe in the prophets, your refusal to believe in the Savior, and so on. Verse 26, and as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. Likewise also as it was in the days of Lot. They did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they built, right? And that's how society is today. We're going to build a super cyber surveillance community. Oh, you could put these cameras on all the lights, and now the street lights won't just light the streets, but it'll keep everybody safe. Yeah, right. You see? And then you have to think about the goofy people that go to them things and think it's a great idea. All right? Going on to verse 29, it says, but the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Even thus shall it be in the day of the Son of Man, when the Son of Man is revealed. All right? So you see it from a different perspective. As it went with Noah and as it went with Lot, so shall it be in the return of the coming of our Lord, right? And so as we prepare ourselves for that, what also happens is in order for you to get prepared, right, the Lord had to send men to wake you up, as it were, in the spirit, but to call to you and tell you that you need to be shown where you're going off. Okay? Isaiah 58:1, cry aloud. So when you complain about the men talking loud or preaching loud, teaching loud, that's what it tells you to do. Cry aloud. Cry aloud. That means you lift up your voice and you speak in a loud voice. Yahushua had a very loud voice. Okay? Like many waters, as it says. Okay? So you speak with a very loud, authoritative voice. Okay? When you speak. Now, not all the time do you do it, but a lot of the times that's what you're going to hear, because that's what's going to grab your attention. Okay? Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins. So the Lord sent prophets to the house of Jacob, okay, to his what? He said, my people. So the Israelites are the Lord's people, and he always sent men to warn them when destruction was coming. And that's what you have now. Though you Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, all right, you rebellious people, you hate the men of the Lord. So much so that you'll take time out of your day to make videos trying to condemn the men. Okay? This is Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. And this scripture has been coming out almost every day this week, for myself and various other brothers. Okay? Because, again, you can see with these guys here in that clip I have, right, that was posted in our chat, and the other usual suspects that are always spoken about, you see that they're playing the part of Satan on the earth, right? They're known as the wicked, the devil, okay? Where they think they have mastermind how to take control of everybody's life, you see? And they're going to use those lying signs and wonders, okay, to make you, ooh, ah, Wow, look at that. You see? And that's to distract you from the truth. Okay? Not to mention, as I said before, to put you in a snare. All right? Let's see here. This is 2 Thessalonians. I got it in the NLT. And let's just go in at verse 3. I don't want to go on too much longer. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3, it says, don't be fooled by what they say. Okay, so that's a warning right there. And the they would be the wicked now. Okay, for that day will not come until there is a great rebellion against the Most High, and the man of lawlessness is revealed, the one who brings destruction. And that's these very same people who try to show you that they care so much and they're so pious, but yet they're billionaires. And they care about life so much, and they care about the planet so much that, oh, we've come up with this, we've come up with that, and this is going to make everybody safe. No, they're the devil. Okay? Going to lead you to destruction because you're not thinking about the coming of the Lord. Verse 4, he will exalt himself and defy everything that people call God and every object of worship. He will even sit in the temple of the Most High, claiming that he himself is the Most High. Don't you remember that I told you about all this when I was with you? And you know what is holding him back, for he can be revealed only when his time comes, right? And he's been revealed now during the apostles' times. How could I say it? We'll say, the Israelites had to be scattered more so even unto this side of the world, and this man had a covering. The Lord put a covering over him, let's say, until that time would come where, okay, it's plain to see who's the devil of the earth, all right? Because now those of us today, as we look back into history, now we can see his footsteps. And we can say, yeah, this is the one who's the wicked of the earth. All right? Hopefully that makes sense to you. All right? Verse 7, for this lawlessness is already at work secretly, right? And it will remain secret until the one who is holding it back steps out of the way. Then the man of lawlessness will be revealed, right? Because the Most High kept them covered. The Spirit kept them covered, right? Where it was hard to detect, the serpent-like moves of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. But everything is revealed now, you see. Then the man of lawlessness will be revealed, but the Lord, Yahushua, will slay him with the breath of his mouth and destroy him by the splendor of his coming. This man will come to do the work of Satan. See? So it's not talking about a singular man, but a man, Esau, Edom, and his lineage. Because there are many, many antichrists, even those, as I said before, of the 2/3 who hate the men of the Lord. Who are rebellious, who keep making videos about Hebrew Israelites and how they can't stand them and they're hurt people and they're this and they're that and all they want is to collect wives and have children and they're in an anti-Mashiach spirit, okay? But altogether it's talking about this man, Esau Edom, who's doing the work of Satan in the earth, all right? So total surveillance, trying to shoot you up with things, right, that you have no knowledge of what they are, nor what the repercussions are of what they, VACing you with, okay? Taking away your innate freedoms, really, that the Most High gave you, to passing laws where a man can't even drop a line in a pond or a lake to grab lunch, to fish. Now you got to go get a license, and they got the game warden out there. Esau is a bitch. He don't want you to have anything. And it's not his earth in terms of creation-wise. though the Lord did give it to them for a time period, you know. So they made all these different laws and got all these different snares and nets and all kind of things to catch you up in. See? Anyway, Salakia for rambling. This man will come to do the work of Satan with counterfeit power and signs and miracles. You see? And that's what they're doing now, even when it comes to this so-called surveillance. Oh, we're going to keep everybody safe. Okay? Verse 10, he will use every kind of evil deception to fool those on their way to destruction because they refuse to love and accept the truth that would save them. All right? Really speaking to you Israelites out there, you know, you turn your back on the truth, you know, because you don't like the way the gift is wrapped. You know, you want something shiny, glossy, you know, looks expensive. You don't like the roughness, the delivery, okay? That's what you all have always had against the men of the Lord. All right, 2 Timothy 4:1, it reads, I charge thee therefore before the Most High and the Lord Yahushua Mashiach, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom, preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, and what else? Reprove. So that's what the Lord did with his men. He set them up to reprove you, to get you right, to correct you, or else you're going to follow that path of destruction. You see? Rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine, for the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears, and they shall turn away their ears from the truth and shall be turned unto fables, you know, and that's where you find 2/3 of our people. You turn under gimmicks, lies, things that you want to hear, them itching ears. Okay, you don't really, the truth is not appealing enough to you. It's not sexy enough. You see? So you're turned under fables, but you hate sound doctrine. That's why you turn unto fables. Okay? You hate to be told that you're doing something wrong. How else will you know to do it the right way if somebody doesn't tell you that you're doing it wrong? You see? So anyway, that's my thoughts, you know, my commentary and, you know, on that one clip, all right? Because yet again, do you see another group of Edomites trying to tell you how they're going to make life so great for you. Meanwhile, they're finding a way to throw you into a pit. Okay? So with that, we're in the lesson right there. Giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakakwadash. Shalom.